It's just ridiculous. Do not trust your wife. Like, it's just an entertainment show. Like, it's not like she went to a brothel or something. Like, it's not like she paid for a sex worker to sleep with her. Like, anyway, so the girls, Jen's friends, are obviously like opposing this man. A lot of them are making really good arguments of why he is a piece of shit. And Jen is kind of like, yeah, okay. And then seemingly they take a break, but then it takes one bouquet of flowers and a couple of, yeah, I will work on it, for Jen to take him back and to work on their relationship. And within those, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks that they get back together, she gets pregnant. From my understanding of this timeline, it seems like, and I don't want to like assume anything about their relationship. Obviously, I am not in the relationship, but it seemed like he kind of trapped her. Like, in my opinion, it seems like he kind of trapped her because she was kind of like, her eyes were opening finally, and they took a break, and she was like reaffirming what she wants out of their relationship. She is saying, I want you to listen to me. You're not listening to me. You need to consider my feelings, and you need to, if you watch the show, you need to like listen to what he says, because every time Jen says something, to say like, please can you listen to my feelings and consider my point of view, he doesn't. He blatantly ignores it and is like, but, and me, always. In my recap that is coming up, I will try to write down the exact quotes of what he said, because I was baffled when I was listening to this. Honestly, how do you even look into that man's face? He is gaslighting the hell out of her, and I think she knows. And, you know, in my opinion, there might be a tiny bit of like fear in her, which seems just so disgusting, because she kind of, so the girls, when they spoke to Jen, kind of saw that Jen says things to them and then says things to her husband in a different way. There was a Halloween party, I think in the second episode, where one of the girls throws the Halloween party and invites literally everyone. And as a part of the entertainment, the organizer's husband, another girl's husband, so two husbands, and two Chippendale performers are gonna do this dance, and they are trying to provoke Zac. Honestly, was true that the Chip and Dale performers are gonna get, because you know what happened in the end. He again kind of flipped out. He went, and also like Jen enjoyed the Chip and Dale performance that the two performers and the two husbands did. She was loving it. She had no problem. And Zac turned it into a thing about consent. I love when right-wing people and conservative people like Zac especially turn something so serious about having consent or not having consent, twist it into their narrative, because I think that was what was happening there. He's like, yeah, you didn't get her consent to, like, I don't know, do a lap dance on her. You touched my wife without her consent. First of all, she was like laughing and loving it, and before you say anything, you never know, you know, what she was feeling at the time. But when initially she was brought up this idea, and the girls told Jen that the lap dance is going to be happening, like the Chippendales performance in the Halloween party is going to be happening. They were in a hairdresser's, and she was like laughing. She was like, that is awesome. Like, she literally said, that's like great, or something along the lines, if you watch it back in that clip. And then in the party she was laughing, and she was like, like, and nobody freaking touched her. No one touched her. Maybe they touched the chair that she was sitting in, but nobody touched her. They just like did the lap dance thing. And Zac invited the dad talk. They started calling, the men started calling themselves dad talk, and I honestly want to throw up. Like, you're not allowed to do that. That is so cringe. Like, mom talk was already at a level of cringe that is, like, we're barely like tolerating that, but like dad talk. Yeah. Zac gathers dad talk, which is the two husbands that did like danced as part of the Chippendales performance on Halloween night. They go to the driving range to play golf. They're at the driving range, like hitting the balls. I don't know how good they are because they didn't show it conveniently. But anyways, Zac starts going on this rant about how he didn't like appreciate that they didn't ask him if it was okay to do the performance, and that like it is causing trouble in their marriage, and that like if first of all, I don't understand why it would be causing trouble in their marriage, because like if I went to something like that, my boyfriend would have no problem with it. It's a performer, like it's just for fun. You're just watching it and just like, yeah, it's a night out. Like, Magic Mike is great and popular for a reason. And he's saying it's causing trouble in the marriage, but he is the one causing trouble in the marriage. He is the one that's saying that he's not happy with Jen and enjoying it, or like just observing the freaking performance. So it's not mutual, but he's just like, it's causing problems in our marriage, and you should have told me, and I would have told you that you shouldn't do it. And then he went on about, you didn't have consent from Jen, and you were like almost assaulting her. Excuse me. And the guys were kind of like, wow, like, you're saying we're assaulting your wife, like, by just dancing in front of her. At a these people is just next level. Like anytime somebody says something, he says, but me. Like, no, like always. He doesn't listen to people. He's just like a terrible toxic person. I feel like he might be a narcissist, but like I don't want to like diagnose anyone with anything. You let me know what you think. But really, like, it's all about him. And when they have this confrontation about how Jen has been talking, how like their relationship has been bad, and the girls want to support Jen, and Zach was like, oh, the girls are saying like everything you say about me is terrible. And Jen was like, no, I told them that we're working on things and that you're getting better. Getting better at what, girl? Lying to you better. Anyway, the girls were like, oh my god, Jen, you're like not telling us the same things you're telling to him. And at some point of that conversation, I think Jen again was afraid because the girls asked her if she lied about Zach using his parents' money that they gave him for college for gambling, because in the previous season that was one of the things that she said. She said that he had gambled away all of his medical school money that his parents had given him. And in that room, when the girls confronted her about that, is it true or not? Jen immediately looks at Zach and hesitates, and is like, and then Zach is like, you want to get into this, like, and then she's like, no. After she looks at him, so I feel like it's still true, but because she was in the room and she was scared of his reaction, she didn't want to say it. But that's just me observing her like hesitation and looking at him and like not knowing what to say, because like she was very confident in how she relayed that information before. When she's not in the room, she's able to speak openly and freely, but when he's in the room, it's always like looking at him, making sure he's not like getting angry or getting irritated, always like, oh my god, Zach, like we need to, just protecting his feelings. What is he, a child? But it's very sad she got pregnant. I know it's not a sad thing necessarily, but think she does want to leave this relationship, but her mom literally said, you go back and you try again. You go back and you try to work it out. Because in their religion, it's like, you gotta be married and shit. And I guess she has a kid with this man now, so from her mom's religious point of view, it seems like she wants her daughter to ignore all this bullshit that happened and don't act like it doesn't affect her in any way, and just go back and work it out with this man who is terrible to her, and they're terrible to each other. I'm not saying like Dakota is the one that's in the wrong completely, but her mom literally was like, because she was like asking like, what am I gonna do, you know? And her mom's just like, you gotta go back and try again. What kind of fucking advice is that? Like, that's so stupid. And then her dad or stepdad is being horribly mean to her in front of her whole family and her partner-ish person, you know, Dakota. In front of all of those people, he's like calling her out for sleeping with the father of her child. Like, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. Excuse me. And also, like, her biological dad was never around. She explained that her biological dad, like, said hi to her at a restaurant once and then never again. She never saw him again. I feel like there's a lot of, like, insecurities, and she also mentioned that she's trying to work through that in therapy. I just feel very sorry for her, like, even though she's kind of a messed up woman, even though she's kind of a messed up woman, like, the people around her are not making it any better, and I feel like the religious, like, shame that she's feeling is exacerbating everything and pushing her to make wrong choices and worse choices. It's the same with Jen, like, she's not going to religion, so she feels very shameful of that. Like, she's let go of God or whatever, and she also wants to continue the marriage because that's like a failure. If you failed your marriage, I guess Mormon people value that a lot, even though if something is just not working not like that black and white, obviously. But what Jen wanted was some